There's a term that comes up almost daily in law practice, especially for those of us who practice in personal injury. And increasingly, over the last several years, it's a term that the general public has gotten very familiar with over really the last couple of decades, and that's the term pre-existing condition. We're used to that term in the context of health insurance. Most everyone knows or have heard of someone whose health insurance claim has been denied because of a pre-existing condition. Likewise, we know that people with pre-existing conditions sometimes have difficulty getting access to health care or health insurance. But it comes up often in my practice where a client comes in who has been injured as a result of someone else's negligence or bad conduct, and they asked, well, how does my pre-existing condition impact my claim under Mississippi law? By sort of the reverse or extension of that, oftentimes we have clients who come into us with a claim or an injury who have tried to resolve it on their own with the insurance company of the person who is responsible for causing that injury, and the insurance company wants to devalue their claim because of a alleged pre-existing condition of that person. And so folks often ask and want to know how that impacts their claim. Well, here's the reality of pre-existing conditions under Mississippi law, and really the laws of most states. And that is that when a person does bad conduct or a person makes decisions and acts in a way that hurts someone else, that's what we call negligence, they take that person as they find them. And it's called the eggshell rule in some states. The thin skull rule is what it's referred to in other states. But essentially what that means, and I'll give it to you by way of example, that I have handled multiple cases over the last few years, and I'm working on some now. But take the example of, say, an older person, a retired person, who is still very active in their life, but maybe they have arthritis. Maybe they're in their 60s or 70s and they've had prior back surgeries. So they have a pre-existing condition in the sense that their back is not as strong as it once was, or their knee or their hip isn't as strong as it once was, or they've had prior injuries, but they're still active and they're able to drive. Well, if a drunk driver or a distracted driver or an irresponsible driver comes along and runs a red light or runs a stop sign and hits that elderly person's car, causing new injuries to that back or hip or knee where they've had problems, or that exacerbate or bring back the problems that they previously had with that back or hip or knee, the person who caused that wreck is responsible for those exacerbated or worsened or new injuries. And so the pre-existing condition is, in some instances, a side note. It's irrelevant if the wrongful party's conduct made those conditions worse, or it's irrelevant if it created a new condition on top of that. Maybe irrelevant is a strong word and shouldn't be used, but ultimately the person who caused that injury takes their victim as they find it. And frankly, what we have learned is to not be afraid of pre-existing conditions in our clients. We embrace them because our clients are who they are, and our clients are the victim, and the guilty party has to take our victim the way that they found them. And if they made a pre-existing condition worse, if they brought back an old injury that our client had previously recovered from, if they added new injuries on top of it, then they have to be held responsible for that under Mississippi law, under the laws of most states. And an experienced trial lawyer who works on personal injury cases on a regular basis will know how to work up the case to make sure that the client is fairly compensated for those injuries, even when a pre-existing condition is present, or regardless of whether a pre-existing condition is present. If you have a personal injury claim, Brad Morris Law Firm is here available for free consult regarding your pre-existing condition or any other claim that you may have. We'll try to answer your questions. I hope this video has been helpful to you. Thank you.